Today, as promised, we are going to talk about the RCF line array speakers. I was finally able to attend a gig that my friend was doing where he was using these speakers. And I'm going to give you my quick overview of the speakers and my first initial impressions. Let's get to it. The speakers that we are going to be looking at today are the RCF HDL-10 tops and the 8008 subs. 8008. Stay focused. Now, these RCF line arrays are actually true line array speakers. They're not like the hybrid system that's kind of like a column array speaker like the PreSonus ones behind me. These are an actual line array speaker. Over the past few years, it seems that RCF has gained more and more notoriety. And here's a little bit more info on these speakers. Inside are two 8-inch woofers, which will give you a really tight low-end response all the way down to 65 hertz. And inside is a 2-inch tweeter to give you those high ends that you're looking for. And the way the speakers are set up is you can see that on the left and right, there are the two 8-inch woofers. And in the center is a really interesting setup of how they put in the 2-inch tweeter. But hold on. Why do they call it an HDL-10 when it's an 8-inch speaker? You know, I have no idea. Because the HDL-20 is like two 10s inside. So I guess you add those together and you get 20. But the HDL-6 is 6-inch speakers. Listen, I don't know. I don't work for RCF. Coming in at a respectable weight of 51 pounds. It's hefty. It's like a big old bag of dog food. But it's not quite as heavy as these guys back here. The actual physical size of this box isn't too bad. It's 12 inches tall, so just a foot. And then 22 wide, which is almost 2 foot. I'm doing this math like you can't figure it out yourself. And then deep, it's 17 inches. Now on to the 8008s or the 8008s or the boob subs. Now these are dual 18-inch speakers. And they come in at a hefty 176 pounds. Which actually isn't too bad. When you consider a really popular one to get is the KS118 from QSC. And that speaker alone weighs 104 pounds. And if you were to double that up, it's actually heavier to have two of those than one of these speakers. One feature that I really like about these subs, besides just the way they look, is that they have a mounting options for the top if you're standing it vertically or on the side. I wish the QSC subs did that. It gives you options if you want to go really tall, if you wanted to get above like a high crowd, or if you're mounting two subs on top of each other sideways and you still wanted to mount your line arrays on there. My first initial thought when seeing these speakers is they are really, really nice looking. And plainly speaking, they're cool looking. And what that gives you is a perceived value to the customer and people that are out there dancing and coming to your shows. That also makes you look even more professional by supplying a sound system that just looks really nice. Okay, that's great. But how do these things sound? Well, they sound great. Now this is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to try to sneak in some audio from my phone so you can kind of get an idea what they sound like from behind the speaker. And then a little bit on the side of the speaker. And then finally out front so you get the full spectrum of what it's supposed to sound like. The one thing I will say right away is these are very bright speakers. Now, I have heard these speakers before and they sounded terrible. So this is a testament to my sound friend because they sounded great at this event. They were high, but they weren't harsh. And they just fit right in the mix just perfect. So take note, bands, your sound guy does matter. When dialed in correctly, instead of getting the bright, harsh high end, what you're gonna get is incredible clarity that just can't be delivered by most point source speakers. But the one thing that I really noticed, and honestly, this could be Matt's influence on the sound that he did, but what I immediately noticed is how tight the bass was. If you've ever been to clubs and watched people play, a lot of times they use cheaper subs. You get a very flubby bass hit. So when the bass hit, it looms and it stays there till the next bass hit. And what that does, it just flubs up the mix and it just doesn't sound very good. This was a very tight hit in the chest, and then it left room for the rest of the instruments. One minor thing that I really liked about the subs is on the handles there's actually a rubber coating for comfort for your hands, which is something good old Personas could learn from. Overall, I was incredibly impressed. The highs sounded really super clear, and the lows sounded tight and deliberate. It sounded fantastic. It actually gave me a little envy, and I was trying to consider how could I buy some. While I really do like the sound of these PreSonus CDLs, they do have their limitations, and I guess I'm just not ready to spend twice as much. But the subwoofer, if you look at the price of one of the RCF subwoofers, the dual, it actually comes out to be very close to the same price as two QSCs. So I might keep that in mind. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick video on the RCF line array speakers. I think they're great speakers, and I'm gonna have more time actually in the driver's seat because I'm sure I'll be working with these speakers in the future myself. If you're on the fence about these speakers, don't worry about it. It's a fantastic purchase. They're great looking and they sound great. If you got anything out of this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm getting really close to getting monetized, which then maybe I can upgrade to these speakers. We'll catch you in the next video.